Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Toku Portal podcast for Kamen Rider Zero-One. I am Vashi V, and joining me today is.
Lead.
Uh, Rye, and welcome to our newcomer, Pixie Cat.
Hello.
Uh, this is a really good time to get into Rider because the era just changed, and so it's kind of like getting a fresh start.
Oh, and look, it involves cyborgs. I'm sorry, androids. Unlike Dragon Ball Z, I normally don't make that mistake.
Uh, Androids just sounds cooler, that's why.
It does.
Uh, so, President Hiden Aruto enjoying his newfound presidency with a new suit, fancy limo rides, neon green shoes.
I'm still under the impression that he went and bought specifically because they matched his Zero-One.
But he's not actually in the system yet, so he can't actually get in.
All that paperwork.
Uh, when he does finally get to his office, and after exploring everything like a child would, he is approached by Ames, a government a group that deals with renegade Humagear. And Hidden Intelligence is under fire for producing Humagear that are going renegade. Drago, any thoughts on this?
Two of my favorite characters on the show right now. I really like these two people. But yeah, one government organization for having to control humor gears seems like a really good response. And I think Hidden is the only company that produces humor gears, so then they would be on under fire. And that's a neat idea. I really like them.
Pixie, any thoughts?
Well, we all know what happened in Terminator, so naturally the government would have a group designed to stop androids.
I mean, you're not wrong. um, I like the fact that so far, I'm giving Ames the olive branch. That out of every writer series that's had this special force, that it's not crooked as shit. Because every time I see Ames, I can only think back to like Zect, and it's like you're just a crooked ass organization. But here we also have Hiden, which we have proof there's some shit went down and got covered up.
You
So
know what? I think that okay. What I was gonna say is that I think Ames and Hidden both could be really, really crooked.
oh, there's entirely a possibility of that, which would be unique. That both are just crooked as shit.
I don't think there's an innocent character on this show.
Aruto, he's
Mm,
the through all of this, he's so far been shown to be the only innocent person so far. Because we all know the board's corrupt because did a bunch of stuffy ass pissed off old men. Heaton had some shady shit in their past, and we have Fua's, insubordination problem. Aruto literally just all he wanted to do was make people smile and laugh.
And when he tries telling his jokes to Fua, Fua just clenches up and starts shaking in anger.
Actually, if I may, he's actually laughing because I've rewatched the episode a few times now. And at first glance, it looks like anger, but if you watch his facial expression, he is suppressing laughing so hard he's shaking.
Like they did a good job of playing it off like he was just pissed off the first time because you couldn't really see his face because it was just him clenching his fist and all that. But yeah, in the end, he's pissed off because he finds Aruto hilarious and he wants to hate Aruto because Aruto works for the big bad corporation.
Aruto's the president of the big bad corporation.
Yeah. And boy, did he pick the wrong time to become president.
Sorry,
First day on the job and already under investigation.
You're right, he should have really planned his grandfather's death better.
And then there is Izu, I think is how it's pronounced, his assistant.
Izu, maybe?
Yeah, let's go with Izu.
Which, yeah, I don't think she's too entirely innocent.
She's certainly manipulating Aruto currently, to be honest.
Yeah, she definitely knows more than she's letting on, but it's really funny how she just keeps trying to act like she knows nothing.
It could be that, he then, programmed her to support Aruto as being the president and encourage him. Which is why when he tried turning it down initially, she followed him and, kept, offering him the belt. Your belt, sir.
So, to be fair, I mean, whether or not he turned down the position or not, until it was officially done, he was still president. That's how corporate wills work. So she was still technically just doing her job. Literally just walking up, you are the president, dumbass.
Right, but then when he starts having doubts later, she immediately cuts him off. Hey, look at all the people you made smile. Look at how happy they are because of you.
So far,
so I do
more tolerable of a support character than Poppy was initially in X8.
I think Izo was just was given a programming to support Aruto and encourage him.
I think she's going to have more to do with the story later on. She's got something in the works for her.
Alright, so Zetsubu, the villains, infect another human gear and sick him on hidden intelligence. So while the AIMS operatives go to deal with the situation, Izu tells Aruto, hey, become Zero-One again, but don't let AIMS know about it.
Back to a hidden rider.
I do like that we're doing a hidden rider again.
Maybe because the only people that can't know his identity are AIMS. Everybody else does. The company does, and the amusement park guy does. So it's not 100% a secret identity, as it just needs to be hidden from AIMS, which is really interesting, to be honest.
Which is a great point because at the end of the first episode, towards the end there, as you pointed out, the amusement park guy knows that he is the Kamen Rider because he saw it and he supports him. And he has this whole little statement of how he's going to keep the park going and make people smile.
And he gave that awkward wink.
Still not the most awkward facial expression in all of Rider. A few get a pass, all of Kamen Rider Chasers, but they're just some strange ass you suck at acting looks. But I like the aspect of the semi hidden because, like Drago said, all of Hedon, at least the board of directors, know that he is a Kamen Rider. I mean, that was explicit in the first fucking episode.
Hey,
And that,
here's our secret weapon. Only the president is authorized to use it.
hey, look, the special weapons running around town. I mean, it's, very obvious, but I like the idea of it being semi hidden from, for lack of a better term, the police. It's almost like we had a show that was very similar in that aspect. Lupin Ranger. But like it's done really well, especially when he hightails it out in a minute.
Uh, and when Naruto does get involved in the fight and chases the renegade Humagear away, Fua mistakes him for another renegade Humagear and starts open firing on him.
And he doesn't help his case by jumping, 10 stories in the air.
But it was super funny when he's like, "No, I'm not me, him. You should be firing at, huh?"
And then his dumbass attempt at hiding.
Where did the green guy go? That way. Look where I'm pointing.
Like, I like how quickly Fua just went, "You're him. What's going? And he's like, "No, it's not me. He went that way."
Where are you hiding him? He works for you, right?
And then the fact that that overreacts and sticks to the wall like he got thrown onto the wall.
Like, I'd mentioned this to I want to say it was you, Rye. It may have been Pixie, but like the comedy, like at first in the start of this episode is like really over the top, but it balances out by the end of the episode. Well, until you get to the actual end of the episode, and then it's just cringeworthy again.
But you know what? I don't mind it because it is kind of intentional.
Right, and it's done really well. It's like he's they gave him the role of the I'm the jackass comedian. That's been his entire life for the last 20 years. So it makes sense that he'd be over the top with it. It's like, but damn, when he gets serious.
Also, as in many dramas and animes, this is a usual style that they do, so that way they keep it lighthearted, even though their story's going to get pretty dark at some point.
Like having your robot dad blow up.
Oh. So back inside the building, the Humagear are all like telling people this was a disaster prevention training drill. And you know what? I get that they're trying to like not instill panic. My question is, who gave that command?
I want to say it was Captain Jackass.
You know what? I want to say it was a satellite.
Like it was pre-programmed in.
Yeah, I think it's pre-programming, and then I think the grandfather guy consciousness or something exists in the satellite who's manipulating everything. I'm just coming up with theories, but yeah.
He just uploaded his brain to Zia. Is that what it's called?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
And seeing what happened when Naruto first put on the belt, it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Right, because he, immediately connected to a
He
satellite.
yeah, he immediately linked his brain to the satellite.
Yeah, and also we've seen this before. As in Drive, you have the professor inside the actual belt.
Yeah, Krim.
Yep, Krim.
And then Bono when he shows up. Spoiler alert.
Whatever.
It comes with the territory of watching old things.
Uh, so the vice president basically starts yelling at Naruto, like, about what are you gonna do about this, huh? How are you gonna take responsibility, huh? What if there's a lawsuit? You're gonna lose your job.
Followed immediately by, I'm going to make you lose your job.
Followed immediately by Naruto spit taking right into his face, being like, "What? You're gonna fire me on my first day?" Kind of forgetting that he's that guy's boss.
Yeah.
But back in episode 1, remember that guy was thinking he was going to be the president of the company, so he may also be the one who's giving commands behind the scenes. He may have been the one to tell the human gears to say, oh, this was a crime prevention training.
Especially to the press,
He
who are
could.
gonna be like, "Hey, you were just attacked. What happened? What's up with that?"
Yeah, and he did make that statement when he's in there accusing Aruto and threatening to have him fired. He makes the point that if the press finds out that this wasn't intentional and that these are going rogue, that their trust fund will tank.
So Fua confronts Naruto again, and we get some backstory about Daybreak, the town that was destroyed in the past when a bunch of Humagear went renegade and started attacking humans. Also, the incident of the explosion from Naruto's childhood. Uh, while Naruto was saved by a Humagear that was, like, I guess, replacing his father, Fua was trapped inside a school that a bunch of Humagear were attacking. So, they had vastly different experiences there. And he blames hidden intelligence for just kind of sweeping the incident under the rug.
Yeah, I mean, I know you understand where he comes from, considering that would be really traumatic experience for him.
Yeah, I totally get why he hates all robots.
And again, this is going to be a whole yin and yang play between the two of them.
Like I touched on it with Rai yesterday a little bit more in depth than I will here, but it shows how your experiences can dictate your prejudices. Which, mind you, is a vastly major thing to be teaching kids. Seeing as this show is made for kids in Japan. The idea that you can take the same event, have it play out two different ways for two different people, and they'll come away with two different viewpoints on it, and that'll shape their view of the event and the causes and so on and so forth. It's an outward swing. So the scene where Naruto was saved, which caused him to trust and believe in the Humagira there to protect them and help them, and all of this makes perfect sense for Naruto. And Fua being attacked by the Humagears, again, makes sense for his hatred of them. Of no, because now his entire existence is waiting for this shit to happen again, and holla, it's happening again. Like it, both sides of the coin are very, very justifiable for each side. For each side.
Also, this one reminds me of Excite a lot because on the roof of the place you're working, and then the secondary rider has a talk with the primary one, or any villain does with the hero. How much they love the roof.
That was like every villain confrontation, secondary rider confrontations happened on a fucking rooftop. Aside from the one
Yeah.
when he finally bit it.
And like, if we want to say this reminds me of X-Aid, we'd be doing that this entire series.
Which is not a bad,
Not much, to be honest.
like
I don't. Okay.
like it's done really, really well. Because me and Ryan talked about it last night. While yes, this has a very, very X80 feel, it feels unique enough that it's not the same experience.
Yeah. It just the rooftop scene just struck me as odd. Like, why would some random government agent would have access to the roof of a company?
I mean, Aruto's the president, so it's like, oh, you want to talk to someone private? Let's just go onto the roof.
Yeah, maybe that could be the case.
And yes, Pixie, X-Aid was the one where you had a virus infecting people, and the virus like became real.
Okay, I've seen a couple episodes of that.
Hello, sorry I'm late. I had to do a long work call with a friend who talks for ages.
Welcome, Henshin.
Yes, I was just like, well, I now have some free time. I have to gush about how awesome the fights and the visuals were in this episode.
Yes, somebody else who gets it.
Before we
Yes,
get to that, how do you feel about Aruto and Fuwa's like relationship so far?
With, oh yeah. Honestly, the first time I watched it, I did not pick up that Fuwa was trying not to laugh at Aruto's jokes. I seriously thought he was fighting off the urge to just jump on the stage and strangle Aruto right there.
Same here until me and Bashi debated this, and then when I rewatched it, the last scene you do see him trying not to smile.
Yeah, like on like the second watch, I was like, yeah, and then I'm like, it's so weird that like he must have a weird sense of humor for him to be this hard-ass traumatized guy and yet thinks the stupidest jokes are funny.
Like,
Also, I was like, why didn't Fuwa recognize Aruto and Tsu just by his voice and like, or at least pick up with the fact that like normal hacked Huma gear are just like destroy, destroy, destroy. Meanwhile, this guy's like, wait, no, you've got the wrong guy. So I'd be like, wait, this guy doesn't seem like he's hacked, but I guess Fuwa is just blind to that.
You can't watch this franchise and then bring up the how come they don't recognize their voice argument.
Yes, I won't do that again.
So I do agree with you.
Like,
oh, we all do.
Like, it came up plenty of times in Lupin Ranger versus Pat Ranger.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, but then again, if they figured it out then, that show would be much shorter. So yeah, I get where you're going by. I also noticed Drago's avatar is now Fuwa. I'm gonna probably change mine to Yua at some point. This episode, I am so excited. Where are we currently, by the way, in discussion?
I was about to discuss how Aruto made friends with one of the security guard Huma Gears, and it became the next target for a second monster in this episode.
He literally put the.
When I heard his name was Mamoru, okay, sorry. When I heard his name was Mamoru, I was immediately scared
I thought Tuxedo
because
Mask.
Amazon has started.
Also,
Okay,
as
sorry.
he smiled at the handkerchief, and I went, "He's dead." That's
Yeah.
how I reacted. Oh, by the way, of course, Premium Bandai is selling that exact handkerchief.
And that was a total play to Sailor Moon's Tuxedo Mask, aka Mamoru.
Yep. Don't you mean Darien? Just kidding.
So, last week we were talking about how the first monster we got was a praying mantis and went, okay, that's different. That's not like the standard spider or snake or bat. But then this week, we get the bat. And so
Yeah.
when I saw there was a second one, I thought it was going to be the spider. But instead, we get a kangaroo?
It had tusks. It was like a walrus?
Saber-toothed tiger.
Yes.
That's where my brain went with saber-tooth tiger.
Saber-tooth tiger.
I just say that because I got a real good look at the face mask, and it's definitely a cat. It's like a cat with tusks. But knowing Japan, they may be combining, like they did in Drive, they might be combining two different animals to make these villains. So it may be like a mammoth and a saber-tooth mix.
Oh yeah, the shocker villain.
Yes.
When I checked the wiki to like be like, what is that supposed to be? And it said kangaroo, which is why I was confused. It's like I'm looking at the tusk. It's like I don't see the kangaroo in that.
The demonic? I don't
Yeah,
know.
whoever put that on Wiki was wrong. There's no
Yeah.
way that's a kangaroo.
That's not a kangaroo.
I also last week I said, hey, no one ever said you can't cure them. Well, now Izu is saying you can't cure them. Once they're infected, there's no going back. So destroying them is the only way. That's why the Zero-One gear was developed.
Izu,
But-
careful what you're saying.
Because
Especially
we
around
know-
Me and Vashi just debated this. And I pointed out the same thing was said in Drive with the Roy-Mute, and then later on, they did find a way to separate the human from the Roy-Mute.
Right, and me and Raya talked about it too. Is like it's gonna get to the point where Izu's gonna gain, singularity, and she's gonna become a target, and then it's now we can fix it.
Now we know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I know that'll come eventually.
But even in the few episodes I've seen, it seems to be a common thing in Kamen Rider for a lot of things to happen on the rooftops.
Yeah, we have our
Keep filming
rooftop
location.
now.
Also, speaking of locations, they found that hill again.
Was that Omori Hill? I only saw a brief
Yes,
glimpse.
yes, it's that same freaking street.
That street. One day I will go to Japan. I will stand on the street, and I'm like, "Yep, I'm here."
Rub your face on it.
Oh, I'm not that much of a fan. I'm like
No,
in
do
30
crazy poses
cosplay.
and take plenty of selfies.
Just go full Akiba Ranger and just start rubbing your face on everything that appeared in a Sentai scene.
Oh
I'm not
God! The sad thing is, that's the only thing that pointed that out to me that was the same hill because I was scrolling through Tumblr, and it popped up with, that hill, and then underneath it was the scene from Akiba Ranger where he's yelling the name of the hill. I was like, hey, it is the same place.
When I go to Japan, I want to at least act like a reasonable human being, so nobody just stares at me as like fucking Gaijin.
Well, don't go to that hill and never visit a quarry.
Yeah.
Still doing that, but I'm just gonna do it calmly.
So, uh, we get to the real, like, part of the episode where, like, the fights are happening, and you have Fuwa versus the Bat, and Aruto versus Mamoru. And Fuwa, despite not having authorization, forces his progress key open so that he can henshin. Wherein
I, Yeah.
his henshin tool is a gun. He fires the bullet to initiate the henshin sequence, and then he finishes it by punching the bullet.
that was the coolest
That was so
engine I've
awesome.
ever seen.
To me, he officially has the most badass engine.
And it breaks his arm too.
Yes,
I
and
thought
then
that
she's
too.
just standing there. She's like, "He did it. It's finally begun."
I'm like, you are you working for some other agency we don't know about besides Ames? Please don't.
No, aim just crooked.
Or it is higher.
She
Yeah, Ames is crooked.
she told him he was. She did her job. She told him he wasn't allowed to use it. He used it anyways. What's she supposed to do?
Well, I'm not saying. I don't know. It's just like, she's filming this with her phone. That's odd. Also, I was half convinced like it would be hilarious if he tried to open it and then the cover snapped right off.
I interpreted it as like she was recording the like initial use of the rider gear.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yeah,
like this is happening now. Like, let's see how this goes.
okay, sounds good.
Uh,
I just thought it was a little odd. That's all.
Vashi,
Yes.
would you like to do the next note?
What's the next note?
You know what it is.
The annoying over the part
No.
that's getting annoyed, the wrapping belt.
No.
Or,
It is the chase sequence. Specifically.
oh yes. So how did everybody enjoy the upgrade to Sento's bike?
Awesome. They did the bike slide. Amazing.
I love the fight, but you know what? I think it's a downgrade because Sento's phone transforms into a bike, and this one they have to send a bike down.
In the shape of a phone.
Yeah, like, so Sento, like, alright, like, here we have a phone that turns into a bike. Alright, why not have a literal giant phone that turns into a bike, right? What?
And then have it teleported and launched to him from a satellite.
Also,
Inconvenient,
also,
but
it-
it can be so
hit the button again to make it be a.
I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt that that doesn't have to happen every time, because if that's happened every time, there's gonna be a lot of property damage. They were in an underground parking lot this time, and it broke through the ceiling.
Well, the grasshopper coming down for Arto's transformation shattered the glass atrium of Hedon Intelligence, so that's where part of the budget's going to be going this
Oh.
quarter.
Also, there's the building that Aruto rode his bike on the side of and cracked every window along the way.
Yep.
But
My
that was
personal-
totally cool to watch.
My personal joke is like, Zero-One is a secret, but he has to be a secret that he's not affiliated with Hedon Intelligence, because otherwise the Hedon Intelligence is gonna get so much lawsuits.
I just imagine, like, a guy that just follows him around and is like, I'm his insurance representative, we'll cover the damages. And just always has a checkbook.
Honestly, I love that. That'd be so funny.
That
Hey,
would
maybe
be,
that's what Izu will do. Because it was kind of funny when he summoned the bike. She just stands there with her arms crossed, smiling, and she says, "Watch your head." And then, bam, giant.
at least this time she warned him, unlike when she chucked the briefcase at him.
She
But that was great. That was so wonderful.
That was awesome. I love that moment.
Careful, she's learning.
But I love the design of the bike. The bike looks amazing.
Like this is one of the more simplistic looking bikes that we've had too.
It might actually be street legal.
Right, because I think the last one that I know for a fact was street legal was doubles.
Wow.
Really?
Not even the
Why
Gaim ones?
At least it looks better than Ghost.
Gaim's bikes were dirt bikes,
Oh.
which are
Yeah,
technically
now they. Yeah, okay.
and street legal with dirt bikes is a weird issue.
Yeah, I see now.
Double was after Decade, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the very next
Yeah,
one.
I guess they got filming permissions or something. Maybe like this time
What? What's up?
they could. It'd be funny if they just bribe the government to make the Kamen Riders street legal.
They're not gonna shell out the money for that.
Toei isn't. What do you think Toei is made of money?
That all goes to Bondi.
Yeah. All right.
Hey, new corner of the market. Bandai presents Kamen Rider Series Bikes.
Oh, that would. Yeah, I was like, they haven't made actual Kamen Rider bikes that they can sell to adult fans with way too much money.
Because they're not street legal. You would have to use the bike money revenue just to bribe the government.
Like Bandai
Okay,
can't
just
do
the
that.
street legal bikes then.
Like the older Heisei bikes would work. Agito's.
Kuga's without the armor.
What about the Showa bikes?
I haven't seen. Well, yeah, most of them would be most likely street legal.
I like
No,
Zero's
that's,
bike.
to be
Totally
honest,
buy
okay.
it.
What I was gonna say is that most of the bikes that are in Showa wouldn't be street legal because the modification laws are really what you call it, strict. Since double was just a coat of paint, it was not that bad. But yeah,
Like I know Kiva's was street legal.
yeah, because it's just a bike.
Yeah, because it was literally just a fucking chopper. God, I loved Kiva's bike. Because it was one of the few that wasn't a crotch rocket.
Hang on, I'm looking up a picture.
And only you would notice this.
I like that style of bike.
You like croc rockets?
Is
No,
No.
the chopper.
bike.
I like
Nice.
the standard motorcycle look.
What kind of bike was Laser?
I want to say it was a dirt bike.
Dirt bike.
And
Okay.
yes, Pixie. He said what type of bike was Laser, not what type of bike did he have.
There. So I don't know
Okay,
what you
point
saw.
out that I'm such a freaking noob.
The joke is that in X8 there's a character who becomes the bike.
Yep.
Great.
X8 quite literally rides him.
He jokes.
Which the funny thing is I have friends who look up fan fiction and all that. Not really that much of that one. You'd think that would be the easiest target. That or the
No.
one time when he rode himself.
What I was gonna say is that there are a lot of people who have fan fiction of Emu and what do you call it,
Laser.
Kiria, but yeah, but I don't think that they have used the bike in that.
Alright. So we also get two new finishers with this fight. Aruto uses his sword, his briefcase sword, and we get to see Fuwa Kamen Rider Vulcan's gun finisher. And holy fuck!
It was nice, and I will. If they need to do those quick scrolling character by character titles for every finisher in this show, please.
I see that being a thing the same way that they did the critical finishes in X-Aid.
Nice.
But
Because
that finisher,
they're short enough that they can do it on every episode.
Yeah.
that finisher was so amazing though because of the wolf pack that came out and pinned the dude to the container so that he could just blow him to smithereens.
Nice.
Vashi, what was that question you asked me?
I don't remember.
It was something about like best like lone wolf.
No, I think the only one I remember is your list of your badass riders.
Yeah, it was like you asked me like who my most badass rider was now, and it's like true. Vulcan has made an incredibly good start.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Like, I still have my definitive, this is at the top of the list, and I mentioned it to you, and that will always be Soichi, the man who punched God.
No rider powers, normal human, decks God in the face.
Nice.
So, yeah, to me, that's the highlight of badassery. Fu was pretty high the fuck up there.
Yeah.
Fu is like competing with Fives for me. Like, I don't have like a definitive ranking, but they are on the same level there so far.
And the sad thing is, Fives just didn't give a shit half the time. And he was still badass. Fives, the begrudging hero.
So, I'm not sure if Drago was having connection issues or mic issues, but he has dropped out. Before we get to the final conference scene, Henshin, you missed a good portion of the podcast. Is there anything you wanted to talk about that we have not covered?
Duh. We've seen, well, like, all the stuff with Mamu was extremely sad, and, like, I'm like, you can tell it's good writing when they get you to empathize with and then mourn a side character, like a...
That you just met.
That you just met. That, you know that's good writing. Also, like, Base Room is pretty cool. I like that there's a gigantic 3D printer. Like, I feel bad for Fua because he got traumatized by having all of his friends and family murdered by Humagear, and I'm like, it's really interesting. I'm guessing all three of them were involved in the Daybreak tragedy in some way or another, since Aruto and Fua are, so I'm wondering what happened to you on that day, and how that affects her worldview.
Yeah, and I really do like the chemistry between all the characters. Like, it's really well done in this episode, at least.
Yeah, definitely. So far, it's been a good writing with the characters and the relations to each other. It's got a very strong story to it, just within the first 2 episodes.
Like, I've had this issue with like writer series in the past where best example Zio, where we get in terms of, I've had the issues with Sentai too, a la Q Ranger, where I did not care for like the first half of the show. Like, it just seemed like your typical, hey, look, there's a monster, fight, over, done, let's move on. It's rare that one of these shows catches me and pulls me in very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And this did it with the first fucking episode.
Yes. And the second just cemented that for me.
Oh yes, absolutely. It's like I will watch this series in its entirety, willingly and enthusiastically. Not like Zero, where I was watching it just because it was on.
And I'm the same way.
I
with
didn't
a lot
even
of
watch the
things I
first.
watch.
Yeah, with Zero, I didn't even like really watch the first half. At the beginning until later on when later on I caught up to the show. Yeah, so the second half was probably more enjoyable, but again, this one I'm just hooked from the start. I'm just worried that like all the series that I is really good at the start is gonna falter at the end. Uh, I hope Yuya Takahashi has learned how to end the show properly next time. This time, sorry, compared to like what he did for X-Aid.
Don't introduce your final villain 20 episodes early.
Yes.
Don't have any
Yeah,
character that fights your final villain beat him flawlessly and have to come up with a new excuse every single time as to why he didn't lose.
Yes.
Or don't make your final winner unbeatable by even after introducing him early. Looking at you, Evolt.
And also don't make the villain's final scheme smaller in scale from the start. Evil.
Also, don't make the villain's scheme completely obscure for the whole series and then make it really, really simple and kind of dumb at the end, Schwartz.
I mean, we've not to, and to conclude this, don't makeshift the final villain. Drive.
Who else can we throw in here? Don't make the final villain that the hero has to fight the side villain that nobody cared about. Wizard.
Hey, I like Gremlin.
I like Gremlin better than I liked White Wizard.
Gremlin was a good character, but nobody wanted him to be the last battle of the show.
Right, because they built up Wise Man.
Don't make the final villain a pissy, annoying guy who is not threatening at all, Ghost.
Who else can we throw shit at here? Let's keep going.
I mean, if we're gonna
Okay,
throw shit for the sake of throwing shit, don't make your final boss be somebody you don't actually defeat. Thighs.
Don't make your final boss you actually just ignore and leave and turn your secondary into the final villain, who is actually a good character, Gaim.
Don't make the main antagonist get owned by his own endgame plan. Fies and Zio.
And don't fuck and just pure and simple, don't fuck up. Decade.
Oh,
Decade didn't fuck up. He just what do you call it? He just had his 48 episodes in Zio. So yeah.
Here's one. Don't have your final battle with the final villain be him and the main rider stand in place and take turns punching each other until they both collapse. Kuga.
Fairness,
Okay, you know what? Okay, what I was gonna say is that that complaint is okay, but it would be rare. Don't just not show your final fight, Kuga in Amazon Season 2.
Basically, Vashi, by the end of Kuga, they had no money left, so the final battle is underwhelming.
I haven't watched too many
Same
riders.
with Amazon.
I can't. I can't give many rider shade on many rider villains because I only know like 4.
Henshin, I only know halfway through Drive and this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Don't worry about all the spoilers we just said because you won't remember them if you do try to watch those shows.
I won't remember them
fine.
in 5 seconds, so we're good.
Don't have a major plot point be completely underwhelming. Agito.
Don't reset the world again.
I was about to say
Yuki,
it. I was
Build and Zio.
I was about to say, don't have the most tragic, beautiful ending ever, and then hit a reset button so none of it mattered.
That's like 4 fucking shows right there.
Maybe in the future, don't create a gigantic reality warping machine as an excuse for why you have a crossover Heisei generations.
Or the history altering one for Drive,
Okay.
which led to the most awkward fucking race unnecessarily. God, that still bugs me.
I forget which one that is, but I remember a race. Was that
Grand Prix,
Grand
Sango.
Prix? Okay.
And whatever you do, don't have a Michi in your show. Gaim.
And don't start off a badass character being all depressed eating puzzle pieces. Blade.
It was a good. It's probably a good thing Zero's not here. He would have so much shit to say.
He'd be bitching us all out. Because like we've all most of us have discussed. Blade was fantastic.
Oh
And
yeah,
Blade has one of the most solid endings.
I'm not even serious about most of these.
I'm being silly.
Neither am I, but it's fun.
And
Like-
I maintain that Blade has the best ending of any Rider series.
Oh yes, like it would have been great if they didn't do the fucking world reset. Because Zio gave them truthfully the perfect ending. Because the Blade episodes were literally
A
continuation of Blade.
resolution.
It's a
Yeah.
resolution. Blade and Chalice were able to be around each other and not murder each other and destroy the world.
World reset. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone
Yeah.
went oh shit when I thought about that, and I had
All those happy resolutions, fucking gone.
There was some interesting fan fictions, like somebody made like a interesting whole alternate timeline O's fan fiction and how that goes, and I can link you to that if you'd like.
Well, I mean, in fairness, for one of the movies, O's did it too. O's did an alternate timeline too.
Okay. Well, this is like Zio timeline specifically, so
Ah.
for Onk AG shippiness, this fic has it.
Alright. So, we got really off topic there, but let's finish
That's
off
okay.
the episode with the
We had to make up for the fact that Zero's not here.
Right. So, the conference, with the press conference, the vice president is trying to do the damage control because, hey, where the fuck is Aruto? Here he is, shows up through the door, like a formal suit and tie, like, just everything about
Walking
screams like,
the boss.
I am the president of this company. He reveals recorded footage about the cyber terrorists that are causing the human gear to go renegade. And pleads to the reporters that, like, hey, our company will work to remedy this situation. And then he ends on another one of his jokes, and
Not another one. The same one from earlier this episode.
and Vulcan begins shaking again, as Izu once again begins explaining the gag, and Naruto has to ask her, "Don't explain the gag."
It was a good it was a good ending. Honestly, I still don't get Aruto's jokes and
I
except they're like the
It's-
worst puns possible.
I think what happened is they might be a pun in Japanese,
It is.
which uh, it could like because what I watched from Team Neon was like, hey, this is still like the quality check version. The full version might actually have like a translation
Egg.
code. Trying trying to like having
We had in the first episode was a giant fucking pun.
And of course, I'm just like corned beef kelp, huh?
yeah, I had to like read a Twitter post of someone explaining that shit.
Yeah. Oh, just two things. One is of course like you see a Mamoru looking Humagear, and they had to like several Twitter people had to be like, no, he has basically a I'm a new android symbol on his headphones, so that's not actually Mamoru. Also, we have to mention that one amazing shot where after Vulcan defeats the Humagear, he sees Aruto, well, Zero-One, through the melted steel containers, and it's amazing.
And the sudden wisp of smoke, he's there, next wisp's gone.
Ooh, mysterious.
Hey, Rai.
And I look at
He
him,
looks at you.
and he looks at
looks
me.
The best video.
Not
that-
again.
The best video that's ever came
You-
out of it. Out of that.
He showed that to you.
He showed it to me, but I've also
no.
seen like 50 million plays on that with many different animes and other things.
What is this video?
I'll put it in the playlist channel. It's a line from a Weird Al song of two people just looking at each other, overlaid over that shot of Vulcan and Zero-One looking at each other.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like it's the perfect soundtrack to make you laugh.
Okay.
But then if we go back to the, not to divert, but that is where you see that Vulcan is laughing at Aruto and he's not actually mad, is at the end of the conference.
Yeah.
You see it zoom in on his shaking fist and then it goes up to his face and you see him clenching his lips trying not to laugh.
Yeah. That was a pretty funny shot.
Like I like the fact that.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Drago.
No. I was just going to say that the actor should do a try not to laugh challenge with that because he's a YouTuber with a YouTube channel right now.
That'd be great.
Oh,
Yeah.
that'd be good. Yeah, I know he
Okay.
has a YouTube channel. I need to subscribe to that if I can find it again. Someone posted a link.
Like I like the
okay.
fact that they at least put the armband on the new Humagear as a the way like cops or anybody would have like the black band for funerals and loss and stuff like that. It's like this is what he had, so this is what this one has now, and it's a nice touch. I loved Aruto just basically just busting and going, no, this is what's up.
Meanwhile, Jun is over in the corner fuming. You could see like smoke coming out of his ears.
Like the only thing that I was disappointed at is like when I saw it, and I get why it makes sense, and because it's the whole Kamen Rider is a secret to Ames and whatnot. But I expected him to pull a Tony Stark of going. When
Yes.
they're like, well, who are you? Well, I am the president and CEO, and I'm also the Kamen Rider.
Yeah, I
Kamen Rider
expected that too.
Zero-One.
No. I expected like exactly the same way as that thing is. The truth is, I am Zero-One.
But
A cute little
I
Zero-One hasn't quite
What I
hit
was
the
gonna say
news
that-
yet.
Oh, but he eventually will, given like someone's gotta have videotaped him on their phone. I recorded him.
as he was riding alongside a building
Yes.
and
Mm.
jumping over
And,
strategically
Cars.
placed ramps in front of cars.
mm-hmm.
Also, also maybe slightly less likely at that first fight at the amusement park, but as time goes on, they're like, who is this weird Zero-One figure? Might be a while if anyone is like, Zero-One seems somehow tied to Hedon intelligence.
Well, if Hidden Intelligence
Okay.
keeps getting attacked, then that
Yeah.
one will get.
And then they'll be asked Yarto, so who's this Zero-One guy? And he'll be like,
He is a hero who is fighting against the corrupted
he'll probably say that.
Humagear. And
Or they could
fighting
pull what they
against...
did in Drive.
Yeah, they could do what they didn't try. I was gonna say that, but
He's my
Like-
bodyguard.
Like,
Oh, we hired
I
him.
got you, Drago. I got you.
like the reveal with Drive was fantastic because he's a secret through all of Drive.
Okay.
You think he is, and then you find
Yeah,
out it's
you
not.
think it's then you find out that a lot of people were in on it and knew about it, but from
That's
public knowledge-
hilarious.
yeah, it's fucking hilarious because you spend like the first half of the episode going, how are you not noticing this? Because there's
Who
literally
said
a
they
point where
didn't?
right, it's like because there's like one person out of the people that worked there had no idea, and that was the computer guy. He didn't know.
No, it was two. It was the other dude too, the one who
Right.
actually worked with the police.
Right, but then I exclude him from the special cases division because he's just that liaison. Technically, he still technically works for First Division.
Yeah.
and also that his mind was messed up by what do you call it, the freeze Roy mute.
Yeah, so he can't say Roy Mude. That seems to be the only effect.
He can't say the word Roidmute.
No, he fucks it up every time until that one gets taken out.
And it gets funnier and funnier each time he screws it up.
Mm-hmm. But like it gets to a point where he has to choose between transforming or letting people die in front of him, in front of the police station and the news crews and everybody, and he just goes, you know what, fuck it, and transforms anyways.
Okay.
Like it's a great reveal to the public that, oh my god, the Kamen Rider is a cop. Which
And,
also
and a person.
leads, yeah, and a person, and it leads to a whole bunch of craziness too.
Okay, when you said that it reveals to the public that Kamen Rider is a cop, that's pretty much what everybody else, like, you know, on Twitter and Tumblr were like, oh no, the Kamen Rider is a cop when Drive was revealed. Because, I don't know, people just don't like the fact that the primary rider is a cop because of, you know, because he's part of the system as such, what they say. So that was a whole other mess that people still deal with.
To be fair, people will bitch about anything.
Yep.
Like, give it time. They're gonna bitch that Aruto's the CEO of the company.
Naruto's the 1%!
Oh, no. Okay. That literally happened when Zero-One was revealed, and we basically came to know that Naruto is the president. Everybody, like a good section of people were like, "Oh no, he's a president."
So? When I heard
No,
that premise,
because, about the
sorry, go on.
no, because basically that people have like I know that this is a thing, it's a actual thing, and people are like, people are right to be wary of it, but like Naruto being a CEO of a company, and that is kind of set up the red flags for everybody. That's because of how people have relationship with all rich people.
It's that the mindset that every writer should be like Takumi, just that every man
Yeah.
who stumbles into shit.
Just every writer should just be the nobody who fights against the big corporate evil.
Yes, pretty much. That's
Big corporate evil, fascist, whatever villain that they try to throw it.
well. I mean, to be fair, that they writer started off fighting fascists
And terrorists.
and
Yeah.
Nazis at some point.
Well, like when I heard the like, oh, he's the president of the company, like premise, I actually got interested because it's like, hey, that's a different perspective. We haven't had that before. My only disappointment is that I thought he was like going to be someone kind of like Bill, where it's like, he's earned this position. He's like he is truly the president of the company. But then we get, oh no, he's just inherited it.
Fucking people, fucking rich people with their inheritance, man.
But
Mm.
still, he.
I mean, to be honest, okay. To be honest, this is a quite a good middle ground because like it's a guy, regular guy, or every man stumbling into richness, rather, and then the fact is that according to the story, I doubt that what do you call it, the other vice president guy or anybody else who would have become the president would have been at the interest of people. Like Aruto is, Aruto has the perspective of being an everyman and straight shoved into the role of a president rather than climbing his way up. And so he is not like corrupted by all the politics and other stuff that of the office environment. So yeah, it is a really nice idea for like his grandfather to actually appoint him, or even the writers to actually place this kind of character as the president.
All right. Anything else you guys want to discuss before we end this podcast?
Not much. Now wait. It's one thing I think is a really good coincidence is that both Zero-One and what do you call it, and what do you, Beast Morphers have this nice computer thing going on at the same year.
All right. Thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Speaking of Beast Morphers, we'll be back tomorrow for another podcast on Beast Morphers, and then Tuesday for more Rio Soldier. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next time.
I
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you all for listening. We'll see you tomorrow.